Welcome back to ReefSmart with Dallas Discount Reef as our sponsor. We, well, pretty much I am ecstatic that you're back today. And I want to talk about point number 2, which is what is your number 2 reef priority? But before we get to that, like, subscribe, do the things to share this because they're important. And back to the topic. So your number 2 priority in your reef tank is basically water flow in a nutshell. Like, very simply put, it's water flow. And a lot of people are like, why? Well, water flow is the equivalent of providing you with oxygen as a human being. We're going to, by the way, before I delve into these things, I want you to know when I talk about these things, I don't really care if you disagree because I know more than you do. Or 99% of the people that are in this hobby. So, great. Thanks. Everybody else shut up. Post some negative crap in the comments. I won't read it. It's perfect. But the main thing is what you need to understand about water flow is there are 2 main priorities in a reef tank. And this is the thing to focus on because a lot of people like water quality is 1, but getting that high quality water to your coral is number 2. And that is the key and really the life force behind your reef, because like in the ocean, like if you watch videos, there's like these huge surges and you're like, all of a sudden you're like, oh, if you like watch Chasing Coral or one of these videos, you'll see like a particle of water and then you hear a whoosh and it's 3 feet over that way. They've done mathematical calculations with the amount of water volume in terms of like cubic feet of water that is caused by waves, the moon, the sun, because the sun warms water, right? So the hot water goes up, goes down. There's the natural planetary temperature changes, and there's other things that go into that, but I can't remember what the calculation was, but it was like 10 times what most people have in the reef tank. But it's because they literally basically the way that I understood it was like if you took a cubic meter of water, like a car's worth of water, let's just say that, right? And you went over 3 feet in a second. That's the volume you're moving, but you're not moving just that car. You have this entire column of water that's moving. And then sometimes it doesn't. At night it feeds. Like, it was one of the interesting things when we were in Maui. I was amazed. We're sitting out there and you could see, like we were pointed at, dude, you stare out the window, you could see like fish and stuff swimming right off the balcony. I mean, if you look down and 30 feet, if you just went straight down is where the ocean started. You could see them in the morning, but it's nice. It was calm for the most part. And then you have these huge swells during the day. That reef tank, motion as well. It doesn't have to be constantly turbulent all the time. So the thing about water flow that I'll throw in there is say, number 1 priority is water flow. But what does that mean? That means that ideally there are no dead spots in your tank. There are no spots where water just doesn't move. It just sits. Like if you put food in there and all the food settles in one spot in a corner, that's usually like the middle back of your tank, by the way. That's the way it works. So, a couple of things you can do is move your rock stack out a little bit, especially in a smaller tank, and have a pump, or if you're setting up a bigger tank, blowing along that back glass. Because if you want to have that spot, it's best to have it like in the front corner or in the middle of your tank. So you see something there, you can just suck it out. Boom, piece of cake. But you don't want to just sitting back there and breaking down in the back of your tank. I totally just brain farted. Again, we do single takes here, so thanks for your patience. So number 1 is no dead spots. Number 2 is the fact that it changes. So I had a couple people who had really high flow tanks, and their tanks were doing very, very well, but they couldn't get anything to feed. And this was about 2 years ago. And I said, why don't you do this? Just take they had a very, very strong return pump, which was way more than they needed for the tank. And I said, why don't you just turn off your circulation pumps? Like turn one pump off for 4 hours, then turn the other pump off for 4 hours while that other pump is turning back on. And then for an hour or two, just have your return pump running and then like feed during that time. But in that 6, 8, 10 hour period. Sure enough, their tanks started doing much better, and they had a lot of LPS and acanthasteria, cinerea, trichophilia. I know a lot of people are like, there's no such thing as a well salt. Well, there is, because there was for a long time before they changed it. So the main thing is with water flow in your tank, to wrap it up, is ideally no dead spots. And I am of the personal opinion, if you have a dead spot, it's best if it's in the front of your tank, because you can clean that stuff out. The last thing you want to do is be digging behind rock or whatever to find something. And the beautiful part about it is you can find low current or lower current or corals that like kind of that surging motion if your dead spot's going to be right in front of your tank, and you can have some gorgeous, amazing corals there. So again, going back to earlier episodes, plan your tank, find what you're going to have in there, and just focus on water flow. And spend the money to buy a quality pump. I'm going to say that. I'm going to do a whole nother episode about crappy water flow equipment, which has unfortunately caused me more misery than just about anything else in this hobby. I know a lot of people who feel the same way. So, having said that, we're going to wrap this up today. Priority number 1, water quality. Spend your money there first. Priority number 2, water flow. Spend your money there. You can skimp the hell out on lighting, which is number 3. I just gave it away. But get the first 2 down, and then as you get your water quality dialed in, your water flow, and by the way, I change them on just about all the tanks every couple weeks. Just a little bit. Even if you move a pump over a couple inches, it literally changes the water flow in the tank. So, another good tip. Hey, change little spots. Just move this pump over 2 inches, move that pump over 2 inches. You'd be amazed what happens. That's about what we got for today. We're past what I like to be in that 5 minute and running out of 10. So thanks for coming in. Sayonara. We will see you soon. As in like 6 minutes.